some sunshine there, haven't you? Yes. Lovely.
It's sort of bathed in sunshine. I tell you what a week though. Look, I'm actually. Do you remember Snoods? This is almost a snood.
Yes.
I was such a Durrani. I don't know why I've still got it on because it's a little bit cold in the Dickie's den this morning. I used to love a snood. Nick Kershaw. I was so obsessed with Nick Kershaw and Duran Duran back in the 80s that I was never out of a snood. Mind you, I was never knowingly out of a pink cerise fishtail skirt either, but that's probably the story for another time. That's
the other story.
I think my autobiography, ladies, it's either going to be called Lovely Colour for the Sofa, Darling, which was the first thing that was ever said to me when I went into ITV, and it was said to me by Sally Mean, who was doing the weather on GMTV at the time. And I was wearing a lousy neon coloured shirt, I think. And then it's either that or Story for Another Time, which is something I use whenever I feel my mind is about, rather like this show, go off on such a tangent that we're going to go into very
we do.
Either Crashing On or Story for Another Time. Although I think my favourite title for my autobiography would be I Get Dick a Lot. Because obviously Dick is a shortened version of Richard. So yeah, what a week. So I don't know. I've got this snood as well, and this is so random, girls. I've been walking around because I only go into the studio every Friday, and I said to my dear producer, dear Johnny, I said, could you get me a xylophone? Because I was doing something in the shed and I thought it might work as a prop. Well, I picked this up in my dressing room, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've been carrying around this little toy xylophone. And I had no idea.
Was that what you had in mind, darling?
It's surreal. I think I might be, this tunnel that is getting shorter and we're soon reaching the end of, I think I might not make it. I think I'm literally limping. Because I'm just
can you play a tune, Richard?
I can't. Oh, please.
And we could all sing.
Oh, that was good.
No, obviously not then.
I am, being the doting son I am prepared. Mother's Day.
Oh yes, Mummy's Day. Mother's Day. How is your mum, darling?
She's great. She gets out of prison on Saturday, which would be fun. Literally out of prison. No, yeah, she's great. I had a fry up with her on Friday, as I always do, and bless her. I love a tinned tomato.
Oh yes.
I don't like tinned tomatoes.
Oh.
No, I love
I do.
tinned tomatoes, and I don't like grilled tomatoes, but I like fried tomatoes and raw tomatoes.
Right.
Oh, I like grilled tomatoes.
Oh, no.
Yes, so do I.
Oh,
with cheese on top.
That's all we've got time for, ladies.
You sound like Heidi High.
I know, right?
Heidi High. Now, I want to tell you, I read this week about a friend of mine whose boyfriend went up for a job, and it was so funny that it made me. I just want to tell you this. So, this guy, he was Liverpudlian, and he was quite embarrassed about going up for jobs and things. He was just found a bit, nerve-wracking, as one does.
Yeah.
Went to this job interview. The other guy was a Liverpudlian. They talked football. He had a fantastic interview and thought, right, this is great. I've nailed it. Walked out of the interview and walked into the broom cupboard. But was so embarrassed about it, shut the door behind him and sat down in the broom cupboard and waited and thought, I can't
come out.
I can't come out. So after 5 minutes, this guy came up to him and said, do you want to know the way out? And he went, yes, please. And let him out.
No. And did he get the job?
No.
How mean.
Nobody gets jobs nowadays.
Why would we have all walked into the wrong door. All of us, haven't we?
Yep.
I remember pulling the disabled alarm by accident in the passport office in Glasgow while I was in the little boys' room, and the door of the toilet actually faced onto obviously all the seats of people who were queuing for their passports, and I just sort of walked out shamefaced as sirens were going off everywhere. Thinking about job interviews, I think one of my first ones was with a PR guy up in Edinburgh, and I'd stayed up in Edinburgh for another year after finishing university, and ended up trying to get work, in the arts and stuff. And this chap ran an events sort of PR company. Mervyn, his name was, an absolutely legendary character. And I was sort of pacing outside his office to go in, and I got caught short again. There's a theme to these anecdotes this morning. Story for another time. Let's move on. I honestly, I've never felt so ropey in my life. You know, when you get a real sweat on in a river in your valley and you're thinking it's now or never, it's now or never. Anyway, I got showed into his office and I just went to his desk and I said, toilet, dodgy salmon, flew in to the bathroom, emerged somewhat less fragrant a little bit later on, but nevertheless relieved. And he told me on the spot that I'd got the job. Because he'd never seen an opening like it, so to speak.
Well, so to speak.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I must tell you, when we talked about this, what we were going to talk about, I suddenly remembered this. It was hilarious. Well, it wasn't at the time, but years ago, right at the beginning of when I started auditioning after drama school, my agent phoned me and said, darling, I've got this audition for you and it's a new musical. Now they want an actress who can sing, but you don't have to be very good at dancing as long as you can take choreography a little bit. I said, well, I'll probably get away with that. So I went along, and in those days, all of the auditions were held in these sort of big rehearsal rooms. So it was a big sort of building near Shepherd's Bush, and I went there, got there quite late. I rushed up to what I thought was the rehearsal room, went in, full of people of my age, looking similar to me, but in leotards. And the choreographer said, oh, yeah, put your bag there. You are late, but come on, join in. Started choreographing, and it was so hard. It was so difficult. I couldn't keep up. And all I could think of now is, you know, Dawn French with Darcy.
Darcy Bustle.
That's what I was like. I was trying to keep up.
That sketch. That's brilliant.
I was just like that. And then it got harder and harder. And I suddenly realized I was in the wrong audition. Yeah. And I found out afterwards they were auditioning for like a really, you know, fantastic dance troupe for something like Cirque du Soleil or something like that. And when they got to everyone.
I mean, it's funny. I always think you girls would be quite rehearsed, every pun intended, in those sort of experiences, because, you know, I can't learn lines. I can do a script if you like, and all that sort of thing, but I can't stick to a script if you like actors and turns do. I always think you'd be quite prepared for that because you've had so many first-time nerves, auditions.
Yeah.
Does it get easier or not?
Oh, terrible.
But it's dancing though, Richard. You see, dancing, you can usually, because we're so good at getting around things, and I can do that, and you can really sort of bluff it. You know, you can really just keep going. With dancing, you can't, because you can either do it or you can't.
And singing, and singing.
I definitely can't.
No.
Go on the 7. Go on the 7. I'm going on the 7. That's the 8. I've got no idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. You are right. That was the most difficult thing about Strictly is, you know, when you just think, oh, I can throw my foot out that way. But if they told me to throw my foot left, it would go right. I mean,
no, very dangerous ballroom.
What else do you, Sherry?
Well, where would I start? I mean, I'll pick this one because there's too many. But so I remember when I was very young auditioning for the Avengers, the Joe Lumley Avengers.
Oh, right.
And my mother, who was a model, had bought me this black suit, very tight black trousers that were quite high-waisted, with a little short jacket and black fur sleeves. I mean, it was sensational. So she said to me, look, don't wear knickers because you don't want anybody to see the knicker line. So I said, okay. So I go to the audition and it is fabulous. So I walk in and I put my handbag down on the floor and I sat down and they did the audition and we said, you know, and it was terribly kind of posh and, you know, and I was telling them about RADA and, you know, and they were quite impressed. And I thought, oh, this is going well. They said, anyway, you know, we're seeing a few people and we'll talk to you again. Bent down to pick my handbag up and it went from the top of the black trouser at the waist right under my crutch. The whole thing ripped open. And I just stood there and I thought, well, I can't turn round and I can't go out. And I had a short jacket on, and the casting director, I can't remember her name now, but she said to me, it's all right, I can see what's happened. And I just stood there and literally gaping from the top of my waist right under my crotch. So I'd come on the tube. So, and it was Boreham Wood, and I had to go get the tube. So she went and got me a black plastic bin bag. And she made it, legs in it. She said, step in this. So I stepped in it and pulled it up like a pair of black plastic knickers and tied it round my waist and at the back. And I had to go on the tube all the way back to Surrey with a black plastic bag, like a black plastic knickers. And more importantly, I didn't get the job.
No. Oh.
Joe Lumley walked in looking sensational.
Oh, so
That was one of my auditions.
Oh my goodness me! So it was that part. That's hilarious.
And every time I think about it, it makes me go absolutely cold and sweaty. And the director and the producer, they all went out because they were so embarrassed.
Well, as I've often said on this show, ladies, over the last year, is and it's sage advice, but that the older you get and the riper you get, so to speak, the more you can weather and style those moments out. And you know, they make great fodder for stories. But I think it's one of the great advantages of entering, shall we say, middle youth, is when you know you've had all those experiences and they're in your own.
Yeah. Yes.
And never leave home without a paper bag. And not a paper bag. What do you call it? Once again, I'll pick up. Never leave home without a bin bag.
Never leave home without a black bin bag.
Now, can we just talk about, finally, before we go, ladies, can we just talk about the elephant in the room? Dee, you've got something in your hair.
I have, darling.
Is that an elephant? I've never called it an elephant before.
No, it's a little bit smaller than an elephant, but I know exactly what you mean. Well, what it is, darling, is bows are in at the moment. I saw this morning when I was watching you, actually. And yesterday morning when I was watching you. And bows are actually in at the moment. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of a fashion statement, darling.
Love it. And do you know what it is? It screams the fact that, you know, the racing season by now would have been well underway, I'm sure. I'm not really a horsey type, but you know what I mean? It's that kind of, we're looming towards the final furlong and fascinators will soon be upon us. I mean, anything for a Pim's moment, you know, and a bit of sunshine. I'm just looking out the window now. So finally, and this is actually finally, so when I sort of ricochet down here in the morning, obviously when I'm not in studio and I'm in the den, I'm dodging fox poop and creatures running all over the place. And I've got a 14 quid Argos gazebo that we put up when you could actually dine outside, you know, safe rule of 6. And it's gone over again. It's about to go over and to go over to the neighbours. I came down the other morning and it had gone over that side. And so I'm scrabbling over that to tether that, dodging the fox poop and finally coming in to talk to everyone on Good Morning Britain. And my 14 quid Argos gazebo, it's gone for a Burton now. I don't think that there's no saving that.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
Is that a knock at the door, Richard?
What's that?
Is that a knock at your door?
Time's up, unfortunately.
Richard, before time is up, just to throw this one at you, does Clemmy know about tomorrow's Zoom call?
I've been informed.
Yes, there's a Zoom call from Debbie Matthews. You know Debbie, who's Bruce Forsyth's daughter? She's got a Zoom call for dogs on the 14th, which is Mother's Day on Sunday, which is to get to the government for as many doggies as possible. She came on our show yesterday, for as many doggies as possible to get on the Zoom, because we want to make dog theft much more, a bigger crime.
Yes.
Criminal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've signed the petition. Send me all the details. I thought you were talking about a little project that Harriet's nurturing at the moment.
Oh, yes.
That's something else.
Yes, that's another
something
one.
Tomorrow.
I don't know about you tuning in, but I'm on a knife edge wondering what's going to come next on the WonderBirds. Literally on a knife.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As we all are. But because this Zoom tomorrow is a dog Zoom, so it's for Clemmy.
It's for Clemmy. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I can
Lovely.
get her to sit
So
still
yes,
long
we've
enough.
got to get, because apparently, according to Debbie yesterday, what she said was astonishing, is that if you steal something from a car, you know, a wallet or something, it's classed as something else, but a dog is not classed as, it's just classed as
It's
that.
called another.
Another, yeah.
It's shocking.
Nothing.
Absolutely shocking.
Shocking.
As I say, I did sign the petition because obviously dog theft has gone up incredibly.
Yeah.
pandemic.
I know.
The price of dogs is soared, but you would have been chatting about that, and it absolutely breaks
Yeah.
my heart. When I think about
Yes.
what a dog means to me, I just can't imagine life without it, because a dog makes a house a home, as we all know.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Indeed, it's the same of all pets. Right, I'll be on it. I'll make sure that Clemmie's got a bow in her hair.
Thank you.
Please do.
Those are us.
Beanie,
Those
Tinkerbell,
are
and Bear
us.
will all be there. Teddy's going to be there. Honey's going to
Yeah.
be there.
Oh,
They're all
yes.
going to be there on the doggy Zoom tomorrow.
With a bow in his hair.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, we have to wear bows.
I love
Yeah.
it. Love you girls. Same time next
Love
week.
you, darling.
Same time
Same time next week.
Stay.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Bye.